All right, it is Wednesday, March 24th, 6:30. This Fans View Live. We got Carl, John, Lauren, Anthony, and myself. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
All right, so let's jump right in. John, what do we got?
All right. For number 56 for who wore it best, we gave it. I trusted our fans. They were going to pick the right person, and they did. Joe Blanton for number 56. We were worried about some people maybe taking Claude Giroux, but I knew we were smarter than that. So we got the right guy, Joe Blanton, there for number 56. He beat out Chris Long and Byron Evans. So this week it's getting a little bit harder with some of the numbers, so things might be changing up a little bit. You're going to see we're going to probably end up just giving the finalists on a few of them. Some of the weeks. What's that?
You're not going to make things up.
No. Well, I mean, we still can do that a little bit, but it's still going to be still be fun. But so we might mix in a couple of double numbers in a week as well, and to move things along, because we're not sure how much longer we're going to have the polls on Facebook. So we want to make sure we get this in while the getting's good there for the polls, because we know how much Lauren loves to post them.
Oh, it's my favorite.
So for the Phillies, we have Ryan Madsen. He was a 2003 to 2011. He was a member of the 2008 World Series champion. He debuted in September 27th in 2003, the day before the last game at the Vet. That's about it for him. He's 91 saves in his career. For the Eagles, we have Darnell Ellerby. He was a member of the 2017 Super Bowl champion. He had 3 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries, 4 recoveries, and 3 forced fumbles with 10.5 sacks. And we had no Flyers this week, and we have no Sixers this week. So for the outsider, we have Johann Santana. He's a 4-time All-Star, a 2-time American League Cy Young Award winner.
We have no outsider either.
No. Exactly. Actually, it was getting close, because there was a couple when I've been doing a little bit of events. There was some sports that didn't have some numbers coming forward, so it was a little bit interesting there. He was a 2007 Gold Glove Award winner. He had the most wins in the major leagues in 2006. He's a member of the Twins Hall of Fame, so some of our viewers will be voting for him, since they're from the Minnesota area. He had a no-hitter for the Twins in June of 2012. And he won the Triple Crown for pitchers in 2006 as well. So, Mario, we don't have many choices, but who we got?
I'm going to have to go with Ryan Madsen.
There you go.
Really the only choice for me up there. I won't go outsider. I only did that once. So I'll go with Madsen.
You sure you didn't do it twice?
No, I think I did it once.
I don't know about that. We had 2 specialties. Everybody did it twice.
Yeah, the one doesn't count though. You can't even count 42. Cannot count 42. Sorry.
Well, it's the most important number in sports.
I understand that. That's why you can't count it. So.
Lauren, who do we have?
I'm also going to go with Ryan Madsen.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do the same. I don't have much to add to that conversation. He's person on that list.
He pitched out in Reading for a little bit, right?
Yeah,
he did.
Did you guys do a bobblehead?
Well, it's interesting. We were gonna do a Chooch bobblehead where the owl chooched, and a Mad Dog bobblehead where Ryan was an actual Mad Dog, but we kind of scaled it back. So Chooch was holding an owl, and Madsen was next to a golden retriever. So just to play nice a little bit, but it was popular. There was a lot of people there for it.
Yep.
Whose decision was that with the golden retriever? Did you get
No, I think we were just playing it safe so that no one would get mad at us for doing one of those kooky bobbleheads. Sometimes we could have probably have done it. Some teams just go ahead and do it, but we try to be as respectful as we could. And once we saw the drawings of the owl one, we said, maybe we'll just put them with those animals instead.
Carl?
Well, anybody know what Ellerby and Matson have in common?
They wear the same number.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Check that off.
Both won us a championship.
Yeah.
Check that off.
I'm sure that's not the answer that you were looking for. But
So why don't you enlighten us, Carl?
They were both guests at Carl's Cards.
Ah.
Man, should have got that one.
yeah,
Huh?
Sorry.
I sneak in every once in a while.
you blew that one right past Lauren too.
Yeah.
I don't really remember Ryan Madsen all that much, I must say.
He was a real
He
tall,
goes-
skinny guy.
Thank you.
He goes back with like right after the championship. It may have leaked into 2009 maybe. But he was one of our guests.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Friend of Bill Madison's booked him and brought him. Yeah. And Ellerby we had the week before the Super Bowl with the Philly special, Trey Burton. Remember we had those two together?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. But I'll go Mad Dog. I'll go Mad Dog only because he was a guest at Fitzgerald Mercy Hospital along with another Phillies relief pitcher, and he treated my mom really well. Took a picture with her and signed an autograph for her on a piece of hospital stationery, and I just came across it going through her stuff. That's why it's only fresh in my mind. But yeah, I'll go Mad Dog. Is he still pitching? Is he still? I know he was.
I think he may not. He might be trying to hang on, but wasn't he with the Washington? I believe the last in this.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, I didn't know if he was still trying to hang on or not.
Yeah.
But he seemed to get better with age.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, exactly. And to tie it to now, I think Connor Brogdon's got the same kind of look on the field.
Well, that tall lankiness.
Yep.
That big number on his back. You know what I mean? And even Matson had made a comment. I remember one interview. They asked him about it. And he tied it into something with the umpires. Like he didn't get the calls because they didn't like the number on his back. Remember that conversation? It was the most bizarre conversation I had ever heard. I'm like, he was blaming it on his number. I'm like, well, then change your number.
No, it's true.
He was crazy. He was a little bit crazy.
Yeah, you hear that?
I don't think he's pitching anymore.
No, is he
No,
gone?
the last thing I have for him is 2018 with the Dodgers.
Okay. Yeah. So, Mad Dog.
We'll make it a clean sweep. Then I'm going there as well. So
You have no Mad Dog anything on the walls.
I know I don't.
Is that Utley you got up there?
It is.
You can tell by the
Nothing else.
stance.
You can't go wrong with the Chase Utley.
All right, so clean sweep for Madsen. Way to go.
Clean sweep.
So moving along.
Well, hang on one sec.
Go ahead.
So what number's next? Because we got to lay it out because we're going to be making some changes. We're going to double up on a couple things.
Well, next week is 58.
Okay.
And we're gonna keep that one in the same format because we have an interesting matchup with the Eagles there to go for with 58. We have a couple of prominent names there.
The starters in there.
Yes. We got a few prominent names there at 58 for the Eagles. So we're gonna put that one out to poll for the viewers to pick on that one. 59. 59 and 60, we're going to probably go the following week after that. 60 is pretty much as a wrap up. We for that one's going to probably be an automatic winner for Chuck and Eric there. So that one should be locked up, and then we'll see from there, because you're going to be missing out on a lot of Sixers guys, some Flyers and Phillies guys will be missing as well. So it's going to be.
So do we have any more Sixers numbers coming up at all?
We have 4 more left for the rest of the poll.
Wow.
There's only 4 more Sixers, and I think 3 of those 4. There's only one person that wore that number, so there's not even a choice. If not all 4, so yeah, that one's there. And then the Phillies, we got kind of the same thing going on with a lot of September call-ups going with the higher numbers.
So is there any numbers where we don't have anybody?
No.
So we're not going to be skipping any numbers.
No, we'll have a winner for every number. Yes.
Okay.
It's just a matter of how many options we'll have at each.
Mario with the tough questions, huh?
No. He's trying to put me on the spot here.
I know, right? Right?
You do realize it's a rainy day out here, so my brain's not working too well today.
Well, it's also a rainy day, and you have nothing else to do, so I know that you keep yourself busy by doing this.
Right, exactly. But my body doesn't work too well on rainy days.
It didn't a couple of weeks ago either at 55.
No, it didn't. You're right. It slipped on that one.
Never
It was
going
raining that day.
I think it was raining and snowing that day, to be honest with you. It was a combination.
Anthony said it was beautiful that day. So.
Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for backing that bus right up over top.
It was raining the day before, so you didn't have time to prepare, John. There you go.
There you go, Anthony. Mario, thanks for helping me out there. You threw me a lifeline finally.
Yeah, finally, yeah. After you throw me under the bus many times, I still got your back, John.
Exactly. That's what we're gonna do here, obviously. So,
all right, cool. So, we okay to move on?
Sure.
Good. All right. So,
unanimous.
All right. So, looks like we hired a backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
Where'd that come from? I mean, I heard rumors about it happening, and then it kind of went away for a little while, and here we go. We got Flacco.
They had interest in him last year as well.
Did they?
There was talks about him coming here last year as well, and then he ended up going to the Jets when they weren't sure about his neck coming back. So, and then he ended up starting. I believe it was 4 games last year, and with the Jets, and so he actually got a raise. He went from $1.5 million to $3 million.
There you go.
Potentially $7 million if he gets to play anymore like he did last year.
So was this just for the sole purpose of being a mentor to Hurts?
Well,
I mean, granted, he's a seasoned quarterback, so God forbid Hurts gets injured and can't play. We do have somebody reputable for the most part that can jump in. But do you think they hired him basically as a mentor?
A little bit. But I'm not sure that their games mesh as much. So,
well, do you think that it would be better for Hurts if he kind of changed his playing style a little bit? And maybe that's why they brought Flacco in.
You can't change a quarterback stripes. You got to let him be what he is. You got what got him here. You change.
Yeah, I think where Mario's going with this, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, he's a veteran quarterback. He's been around for a long time.
Right.
He's been in many quarterback rooms. He's been a young quarterback rookie himself. So he's, I look at it like, he's another coach in the room, basically.
Right.
And like Mario said, if Hurts gets hurt, you know what I mean? No pun intended. You know what I mean? You got the backup. I'm
not saying that Hurts needs to completely change the way he plays, but we all know that there's room for improvement. So
Well,
who better than to give him advice than somebody who's been there?
Kids played 4 games. You know what I mean?
No, I get
4
that.
games, and who's building another room? Is somebody building a room? I mean, what the hell's all the banging going on? Is there construction going on in one of the rooms?
Tyler just left.
Bye, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler. We get 1 hour.
Because usually he leaves it open. So, because the show's going on, he has to slam it this time. But,
Oh, gotcha. All right.
It was intentional. Definitely intentional.
I think he's mad because I think we still got to figure it out for the poll, but we think you were beating him, so he's mad that you're beating him in this. He does.
The apple doesn't fall far from the.
The Eagles, go quarterback or not. But
Maybe the Cowboys jump up at 5 and grab them. That's the deal.
yeah, I mean, it's supposed
Cowboy fashion.
exactly. Yeah, they get back at us for taking Goddard from them. But supposedly the Bengals are pretty high on them too. And pass over the offensive lineman there at 5 right in front of us, and they may take them. Because it may be crazy too. They're talking five quarterbacks taken in the top 10 picks this year. So,
And I think the first 2-3 picks, depending upon those quarterbacks, the way it drops.
right.
Where, Pitts could be there at 5 or 6.
Right.
Unless somebody really jumps up and, thinks that highly of him. So,
Yeah.
but he's a local kid, right?
Yeah, he went to Archbishop Wood. So it's it'd be nice to, like I said, it would be nice to have him here. It's just a matter of
Right.
especially if we want to get into our offense there and improve that a little bit, because he's 6'3", 6'6", and
Wow.
250 pounds, 240,
he's one of the new hybrid type tight ends,
right.
for the NFL. Would fit nicely, with do we have a system here in Philly? I mean, I don't even know if we have a system anymore.
Our system plays to the strengths of our players. That's our system.
I'm not sure what that means, but I'm still trying to get over the Carson Wentz divorce.
Right.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
But
yeah, it'd be nice to see him there. I mean, they also like the kid from LSU, the wide receiver as well, Chase. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, especially with all this movement. They may even drop back if Pitts is taken before them at 6. They may drop back, and if there's going to be that many quarterbacks taken, that may be a spot that they can pick up a couple extra draft picks and move back a little bit and still get their player that they want.
They have a lot of picks this year.
They do, and maybe they move up, and get Pitts if they want, a spot or two, to make sure they get them. It's gonna be tough. I don't know.
Interesting.
But what would you do though if you have one of the top 4 quarterbacks and Pitts and Chase on the board?
I'm going after Pitts all the way. I'm all in on Pitts. I just think he's like I said, I use the word hybrid because I think he's a tight end / wide receiver / you put the ball in his hands as much as you possibly can.
Right. Oh no, absolutely. Yeah.
And you create havoc on that offensive line. It opens up a lot of things. And I think that's what they need as a team to make some of these other young wide receivers that are already on the team, get open downfield. Maybe it works to Dallas Goedert's, strength a little bit. But I'm all in on Pitts. I really am. I just think he's a freak.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a guy that you got to worry about.
So we'll see. What do I know?
All right.
I picked the Flyers to win the Stanley Cup too.
Good segue. So let's talk about Flyers.
That's the end of that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not doing well.
So in the last week, I feel not that it's changed from the weeks before, but I feel like it's always, I don't know, it was the Capitals. I forget who it was the other day, but I looked, maybe it was the Devils. 2-0 right away. I got a chance to turn it on. I mean, it's like you miss it for 5 minutes and they're down 2-0, and then they're always you're crawling back, but then it's just a little bit too late. Why does it take so long? I don't understand.
Wow, Jack's given up already.
Well, I think he's being subtle.
Subtle.
As subtle as Jack can be.
Give him time. He'll have a couple more words for us.
So I'm saying,
Yeah.
he's being as subtle as Jack can be.
But
So,
you saw at the end of the game the other night that they have the energy that they could do it. So why did they wait to the last 5 minutes of the game to do it when they're down? Why can't they just keep doing that?
It's not the way they play.
Yep.
Well, then they're gonna be bounced out of the playoffs pretty quickly if that's the case.
They're already bounced out. I mean, they play the Rangers. They play the Rangers tomorrow night, and the Rangers are 2 points behind us. How pathetic is that?
Yeah.
How pathetic is that? You're talking about going from first to sixth, just like that.
damn.
And how long has that been?
Well, they're 8-1 in their last 12 games.
They're stacking up the losses, aren't they, John?
They are, unfortunately.
Well,
They're stacking up the
I
wrong
didn't
column.
mean to steal that word, but
That's all right.
What are you supposed to do though? Because does it come back to the coach? But I feel like it's the same guys have been doing the same thing forever. I mean, I don't know if it's the coach's fault. Now they said the same thing with Brett Brown. Maybe he was too friendly, this and that, and he brought in Doc Rivers and it changed things up. Do they need a big name coach to change their mentality and show that they have what it takes, or is it just them mentally?
I think Alain Vigneault was the big name coach.
Right.
I think the Claude Giroux, Jake Voracek era is over in Philadelphia. I just think, I think Claude's played a lot of games as a Flyer. He's been a great captain, but he's not that superstar piece. And we talked about it early on before the show started. He's just not that. He's not a Stamkos. He's not an Ovechkin. He's just not that big superstar type player. He fits in nicely. My background noise is telling me he's soft. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. I like Giroux as a player. But I just think, the uniform needs to be traded. I don't know. I don't know how you get rid of Giroux, and I don't know how you get rid of Voracek. They're a couple of high priced guys, without giving them away. And who's going to take them in a cap driven, short season?
Right.
How do you get rid of them?
Well, Voracek, we may get the option to be able to get rid of him with the expansion draft next year if he's taken there, because he'll be exposed in that draft, and they may take him for his veteran leadership a little bit to get started, and just to because they're going to need bodies, and so that would be one way. I mean, Giroux's going to be protected, unfortunately, he can't be moved.
Are both of their contracts up this year, or will he got them for a while?
I think you got them for a couple of years, but the expansion draft after this year, they have to expose, I think it's 7 players or something like that, or they can only protect like 8 players, and then everybody else is exposed. But
they can expose them and hope that somebody picks them up.
Oh, right, exactly.
You know what I mean? It would be a blessing. But
they can't do it with Drew.
Right.
But with Voracek they could, and that would be one. It's the beach house effect there. Yeah. But I mean, just as a leadership, as far as if you're starting all over type of thing, he's a name that people may a new change of scenery might give the difference for him. But
you know what aggravated me the other night, where Oscar Lindblom had to drop the
gloves.
mitts. You know, he had to drop the gloves, you know what I mean, to try to fire up his team. I mean, that's something you would look to, you know, Voracek to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there you got a guy, and I'm not even playing into the fact that he's coming back off of, you know, cancer and all that sort of thing. He's still
But
a
that is in the back of your head.
Absolutely it is.
Right.
And I don't even know that guy wanted to fight him. I really don't.
Right.
I looked at that and I'm like, that guy doesn't even want to go with him.
No.
You know, he just did it because Oscar asked him to. You know what I mean? You know, I think the guy went easy on him. You know, and it just, you know, that aggravated me more than anything. And then, you know, you got to listen to the announcers. Oh, you know, Oscar fired up his team. That's not his role. You know what I mean? That's not his role to get hurt. You know, taking a sucker punch. You know what? That's BS. You know, and I just, you know, the team has gotten very soft, very, very soft.
Well, even in their interviews afterwards, when you watch them, they always, you know, explain how they have great teammates and they have great talent. They just got to put it all together. And it's like, but every single day, it's the same comments. Like, when are you going to put it together? If you're that good, you would have done it by now, or you're not good. Maybe, you know, some teams just don't gel after a while. I don't know. Maybe it's time to break some of them up, which is tough because they are a theoretical team, but you know, they're in a weird spot. You don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, they're not a playoff team. They're not a playoff team at all. You know, they're just out there. They're out there doing their own thing now. All of a sudden, the power play looks horrible. They've come unglued. They really have. And I don't know where the coach, you know, where's his liability as far as, you know, trying to put this thing back together. You know, like what do you do? You know, he sits this guy, he sat that guy, he sat Hart the other night. I mean, does that truly work nowadays?
Well, the problem too with the coaching is it's hard too because they played 5 games in 7 days.
Right.
I mean, so you're not getting the practice time either to be able to fix some of these issues. You're just, you know, communicating with them, say, hey, you know, like we were saying, you know, last week and even before the show, the defensemen are offensive guys. They're always down past the you know, the faceoff circle there, and then they get pinched, you know, beat going back and you know, leaving all the goalies out to dry and you know, and the goalies, you know, unfortunately aren't making the saves to bail them out anymore like they were earlier in the year and last year as well. For whatever reason, you know, on that aspect for the goalies, but you know, you're getting beat left and right, you know, odd man rushes and stuff. It's just, it's a bad system, like you said. But to Anthony's point, though, like they're down 2-0, and then they fought back yesterday and almost won the game, or tied it back up anyway. Let's say, but you know, you can't just let it go to the last minute there and
I try to hope a bunch recently. They get within the last couple of games I've watched. I don't watch them all, obviously, but you know, they get close, and it's like, okay, now you have a minute to score another goal. It's like you put yourself in the horrible position. Just do it earlier. Like, I don't get it.
Well, because they don't focus on the playing the defense. Those guys, they want to get the offense and, you know, and score 3 goals early, hopefully, but they end up giving up the goals instead. You know, if they would just settle down and play a defensive game to begin with, and let the offense come when it comes, they would be a little bit better. But
well, I guess the thing, and Brian brings up a good point. I mean, the Flyers were always a physical team. They always had toughness. They always had a tough guy. They always had somebody that had somebody's back. You know what I mean? I mean, they always – and I know the game has changed. You know, it's gotten faster, you know, and they took fighting out of hockey. But you always need that physical presence.
mm-hmm.
You know, we lost the guy in front of the crease. Nobody, you know, Scott Hartnell, you know, was great at it. Simmons was great at it. You know, they tried to get JVR to do it, but, you know, he doesn't want to get hit in the head with a puck. You can see that.
Right.
I mean, it takes a certain player, for that toughness. But the physicality, there's nobody on that team. Nobody.
No.
And when you're looking at Oscar Lindblom to drop the mitts, you know what I mean? You know the team's in trouble.
Right.
You really do. And that's sad. And you guys know I'm a big Flyer fan. You know what I mean? It just to see them go down every night and get beat up and not be able to fight back until the last 3-4 minutes when they pull the goalie and get the extra man going. It's sad. It really is.
Well, and I think that a lot of teams, figured them out. If you hit them hard early, you get down there, you score 1 or 2 goals, then they're like defeated, and then they fight back. So there is a defense problem, but it's not just the defense.
No, it's a team problem. It's a team problem. They got problems just about in every area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from what you guys are saying and from the little that I've seen, it doesn't look like they have any motivation.
Well, you lose that when you get behind, so early. You try to, and it's never been the Flyers' forte to come out fast. They always seem to come out slow, and we always complain about it. It's just not good Flyers hockey at all right now. None. And I'm afraid it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's just unfortunate.
How many more games they got left?
I don't know, John. You're the statistician here. What's
56? What are they? 15, 13, and 4.
So they're
20.
They're about halfway.
Yeah.
Halfway.
Yeah, so it's 15 and 17 is 32.
Well, I think the season wraps towards the beginning of May.
Yeah, it's 56 game season, so 32 games in. So you got 24 more games.
So I mean, potentially, if lightning should strike, they could potentially turn this around, but doesn't sound like that's going to happen.
I'm saying, do you see any chance of it like it was last year where they get on a roll here somehow?
No, there's too many points above them. You know what I mean? They got to jump 5 teams. You know what I mean? And they haven't shown that they can beat the Islanders. They can't beat the Penguins. They can't beat Boston. They can't beat Washington. You know what I mean? Since the first 10 games of the season, they've just disappeared.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Boston because they're going through the COVID problems right now as well, and that could they're right above us, 2 points behind us or in front of us or whatever.
They're 12 points down from
for the league, but for fourth place you're only 2 or 3 points out.
It's 2.
Yeah.
Boston's got 36.
It's a battle right now.
So I mean. But if Boston falls back, struggles a little bit, because I really think a lot of it is because of COVID with the Flyers initially, and then
because they were on a roll and they got
shut down.
Oh,
you shut a team down in the middle of the season when everybody else is playing, and for a week to 10 days, and then say, okay, go back out and boys and play. You're going to be behind, and it's going to take a little while to catch up, and then our schedule was bad at that. On top of
it. But John, here, here's my comment. They didn't have COVID. They were put in protocol because they came in contact, with someone. You know what I mean?
I understand. But they couldn't practice though.
For 2.5 weeks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Playing video games and working out. You know what I mean? I get it. If you're telling me they had COVID and they were physically, torn apart by it. Okay, that's one thing. You would think they would be well rested and coming out, balls to the wall, you know what I mean, and ready to kick some ass. You know, and I'm not seeing that.
Well, but their legs aren't there. I mean, as far maybe I'm wrong. I'm just saying, as far as it just. I
get your point. I mean, I agree. Time off the ice is important, but.
And then they get backed up with games, constantly. You go from not playing to now having 5 games in 7 nights because you got to catch up on all those games, and then so now your legs are even that much more worn out. than
Yeah,
normal. And
I hear you, and I want to agree with you. I really do. I want to agree with you, but I just don't see it.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard. It's been heartbreaking, to watch them right now. Going into the fall that they have, and because they had a chance to do something, well there. And
let me ask you this, and you guys can jump in. Do they do something at the trade deadline? Do they try to make a quick fix with something? Or do you wait till the off season to try to reestablish what you've got and what you want to do?
Well, to me, I would probably try to fix what I can now. Who knows what it'll do? But I mean, that's just me. You're not going to fix everything at once at the trade deadline. You're not going to do it. There's too much that has to get done.
Well, it's that, but it's also who's out there you're going to be able to get.
Right.
It's
Right.
is there that one guy out there? Which I don't know that there is.
Right. And what's it going to cost you? You know what I
Right.
mean? You're going to have to give up one of your young guys that really could come back to haunt you.
Right.
I don't know.
So-
I mean, there's only a couple of our young prospects that are really,
So
turning.
to close out Flyers talk, we'll answer Joe's question. Do you really want them to make the playoffs at this point?
I do.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
do.
That's me too. I always want my team to make the playoffs.
Sure, because
Right.
once the playoff, like John was saying, you're only a couple, 2-3 points out. The problem being, they're just not showing you the energy,
Right.
that they're able to climb back in this thing. Every night they get their ass kicked early, and then, like Anthony said, you're fighting the rest of the game just to get even.
Right.
But yeah, you'd love to see them get into the playoffs because then anything can happen. Somebody gets hot. Carter Hart decides, hey, I better stand up instead of flopping on every shot. I mean, come on. No, I'd love to see them make the playoffs. But
absolutely.
All right. So let's move on to the Phillies.
Wow, you cut that segment right off. I think you chopped off a minute or
12 minutes.
Nope.
12 minutes. It was before 7:00 we started talking about these guys.
Plenty of time.
two. We're on the clock. I feel like we're being watched. We're being watched by somebody.
We are, me. So looks like JT came back with a bang.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, get out. No kidding. Where'd you steal that line?
What can I say? I know how to read. So
I'm just happy to see him catch 6 innings. That was impressive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Coming back from a broken bone and be able to catch 6 innings. I was pretty excited about that.
which was it his catching hand or his throwing hand?
The throwing hand.
Okay, so that's not as bad. Because if it was his catching hand, I don't think he'd be catching 6 innings.
Yeah, but he led the catchers last year in
No, I get that.
throwing out runners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you're getting 90-mile-an-hour fastballs coming into this.
Okay.
You're not doing that for 6 innings after coming back from a broken thumb.
How did he even break his thumb in the first place? Do we know?
Yes, Jose Alvarado threw a wild pitch.
Oh, to hit him?
in one of the days, the early days. One of the early days in the batting cage, in the pitching cages there, and and it caught him. It bounced off and caught him in the thumb and broke it.
One of them
That's
freak injuries.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a freak thing, but it was just
No, I was just curious.
It was trying to catch that 101-mile-an-hour sinker that just fell off the table, and
I was hoping it was baseball related and not
Right.
crazy.
right, yeah, he wasn't used to catching that pitch, and it got away from him there a little bit. He learned the hard way how to catch it next time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
God. So we got opening day coming up. What, next Friday?
April 1st.
April 1st or April 2nd? April 1st. So it's next Thursday.
Yeah.
So next Thursday. Okay. I don't know. What do you think?
Joe Stinger wants to get right to center field and find out who's going to be the center fielder. He's not messing around. Joe Stinger doesn't fool around.
Yeah. So have they made any decisions yet?
No.
Okay.
Jeff Mathis today asked for his release and was granted his release as a catcher because he has the option on the today to be able to opt out of his option to go to another team.
You bring up a good conversation because a year ago, if you had Jeff Mathis versus Andrew Knapp, he takes Andrew Knapp's job.
Oh yeah.
You think?
Am I right?
No, he's a solid. He's your veteran backup catcher. That goes out there.
Andrew Knapp seems to be like a bottle of wine. He's getting better with time.
No, he is, and plus because of Nola and F1 and those guys growing up with them through the farm system, they're guys. So that relationship helps a little bit as well.
I think the little bit of seasoning with JT Realmuto has taught him a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to see a lot of similarities, with Andrew and the way JT plays, which is good because I'm an Andrew Knapp fan, and I was hoping he, could pick it up offensively.
No, you're not.
No, I am. I am an Andrew Knapp fan. Yeah, I am. I'm okay with Andrew. Sure,
He's
I am.
not an Andrew Knapp fan because he wanted Davy Gruyan to get the backup catching spot.
That's a personal relationship.
Exactly. Thank you, John.
Yeah, but
Thanks for having me back.
Oh
But see, Andrew Knapp got screwed up because of the whole Kapler thing, and you can see now he's going away from that. The uppercut swing, and he's back to his line drives.
You decided that you like Andrew Knapp. I can't keep up.
No, Andrew. Well, see, the whole problem was Andrew Knapp. Andrew Knapp's just a backup. He's not a starter. Is all we were saying.
We didn't like him because he was in Davy's way. Now we like him.
Well, no, he wasn't doing anything when he was in Davy's way. when he was under Kapler.
I give up with the two of you.
But he's a backup catcher. You got JT Realmuto now.
Right.
Well, when we had
So it wasn't going to.
all right, Lauren. All right, so let's dig into this. All right,
Okay.
so you opened up a can of whoop ass. Okay.
No.
It's justified. Andrew Knapp sucked. Let's face it, he stunk. He stunk, and the job was there for Davy Gruyan's taking, and he didn't take advantage of it.
Okay.
It was there. Davy needed to shed a couple of pounds. You know what I mean? He didn't want to listen.
Poor
He
guy.
didn't want to listen to management. You know what I mean? And you see what happened.
Where is he at now?
Got
Is
sent
that where
to
he's at?
Boston. Boston released him, and now he's in Cincinnati trying to catch him.
Wow.
So, I mean, because I like Davey, and I watched him grow up a little bit. But when the team tells you to shed a couple of pounds and do this and don't do that, but that job was there for the taking. Andrew Knapp was nobody liked Andrew Knapp.
Well, that's because Andrew Knapp fell into that uppercut swing, and he was batting like a $183 or buck 08. He wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, he had trouble with the Mendoza line. That's for sure.
And then last year he turned it around a little bit with his bat. It was only a 60 game schedule, but he turned it around with his bat, and he's always been a defensive catcher. That was what he was.
Yep.
He's just
Anthony, you had a comment. I don't want to lose sight of you're a baseball.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, I think the Phillies themselves have always been high on Andrew as a backup catcher. He struggled offensively, but I don't think they mind that much because that's not what they're looking for. A lot of those young guys, like John said, grew up with him in the minor leagues. So if you have the choice of him or Davey, and Davey's not shedding the pounds like he should be, and he's not doing everything he's supposed to, it's going to lean towards Andrew Knapp every single time because he has that relationship with those guys.
Sure.
So I don't know if they were ever going to actually make Davey in that in that role. Unfortunately, I think they really liked Andrew for that. And I mean, it's not like, he got kicked out either. He's got a chance with Cincinnati and some of those teams that struggle in the Central and other places. He'll find his way somewhere.
Has he done pounds?
No.
Oh,
Wow.
bad subject.
And then one more Andrew Knapp comment. Before they signed JT, they were courting him to be, the starting catcher. He was going to be what we were stuck with. You know what I mean? And we ripped that all apart.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're going from JT Realmuto to Andrew Knapp. How do you justify this garbage?
Right.
Yeah, Andrew Knapp's the backup. He's not there to be a starter, and
Right.
as a backup, he's a very good player because
Right.
he's good defensively and
No disrespect. I'm not here disrespecting any players. You know what I mean? But like you said, he's not a number one. He was never a number one. Maybe 2, 3, 4 years down the road, he grows into that. Who knows?
well,
How old is
and he could be a number one on a bad team, not on a team that's hoping
Well, I think
for.
that's what Anthony said.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we'll trade him to Pittsburgh for I
Oh,
don't know, couple of those.
There is nobody left on Pittsburgh. They got their payroll is more than $5.
Whoever you can have whoever you want.
We'll get a couple of them sandwiches. What's that sandwich factory out there?
Yeah, the Permane
Monty's.
sandwich. Yeah,
Manti Brothers.
yeah, get
Yeah.
a couple of those.
I mean, the only thing that's worthwhile out there is the pirate.
Oh my God.
oh,
Okay, so before this
Right.
goes any better, I'm using bad English.
Better?
Yeah, I'm using bad English to
More bad. More
Yeah.
bad?
thanks,
No.
Mom.
Funner?
Before it gets
It's not
worse.
funner? It's not funner anymore?
Right. We're wrapping up here, so let's go. Let's move on to the Sixers.
There we go.
Sixers. Lauren, it's your segment.
There we go.
Where were you Saturday night? Tell everybody.
Watching from my apartment.
No, what game? You went to the Sixers game, didn't you?
What?
Didn't you go to the Sixers game? No. Oh.
No, we never ended up. We never
That
ended
was
up.
your other daughter, Carl.
That was the other kid.
What's in that cup, Carl?
That was the other kid.
I'm
But,
going drinking with Andrew Knapp.
Yeah, I mean, somebody mentioned it earlier in the comments that they should the Flyers should take a page out of the Sixers book because they seem to not miss a beat. They seem to be able to just stack up the wins regardless of who's out there, and that's it. And I think that's the most important thing. So I hope it continues. I hope the hot streak that they're on right now just sort of never stops.
So we got both Flyers and Sixers playing tomorrow. Nobody's playing tonight.
Correct. What do you think? What do you think for the trade deadline, Laura? 3 o'clock tomorrow.
I don't know that they end up doing anything. Yeah, I don't.
Do they need to?
Probably, because I mean, this situation isn't going to last. I mean, they're doing well, but I don't know that it's well enough for the playoffs. But I don't know that they're going to pull the trigger on anything.
7-1 coming out of the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Not bad.
5-1 without Embiid. So.
Right. They're playing well every night. How about that kid Bradley? Where did he come from? The center that they're starting. Where did he come from?
He was a nice find by the GM there. That was to get him, because if he could be around as a backup center going forward, that would be nice to have him.
I think though that since Embiid's been out, that not only has Ben Simmons had a chance to really shine, but so has Dwight Howard. He's really sort of stepped up as sort of this veteran leadership presence on the team. And he brings this like fun energy that I don't think anybody else does. And I think that's maybe what the Flyers are missing. He sort of brings this fun energy, but he's also a really good basketball player. So you just have this interesting dynamic that he provides to the guys on the team, whether they're rookies or they're veterans. He just sort of brings a light, fun atmosphere, and the guys just seem to be having fun playing. And I think that he sort of drives that.
Well, I think all three, the Curry, the Green, and the Howard, all three of them, not only did they bring championships here to Philadelphia, but they're basketball players. Let's face it, play basketball. You know what I mean? They can shoot the three. Howard, like you said, bringing a lot of energy.
The problem with bringing in Lowry is I think you're going to have to give up something that you don't want to give up necessarily. If they said you have to give up Korkmaz and Joe or something, you might do that in an instant. But they might want Thibault and they might want Maxey. You know what I mean? Like, so are you okay doing that? Because one's a really young guy and the other guy steps up kind of when you need him in a big spot. So obviously you got to give something to get something, but I don't know if today you need to do that. I mean,
the bigger question with Lowry is, are you going to give him 2 years and $50+ million extension?
Yeah, I don't.
On top of giving up the players, that's his. I don't know that Lowry wants to actually leave Toronto.
35, and I don't know.
It doesn't impress me that much that you need to do that.
Right.
If you said, "Hey, make a decision right now," I would say, no. I mean, that seems like too much at that age. That's too much.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that throwing that little caveat there into that for him, I don't think is. I think that means he doesn't want to leave Toronto. To be honest with you,
Right. But it's not his decision.
Well, no, the owner and him are really good friends. So I don't know that they want to get rid of him. But it's also a business thing, to move on. But I think he would stay there in Toronto as well, and finish out his career there.
Can the Sixers afford to make that move financially?
Well, they would be able to, because once they sign him, once he's their player, they can pay him whatever they want and go over the cap. As the Larry Bird rule or whatever they call it nowadays. The cap's really just a soft number to that's there unless you're paying your own. Well, unless you're paying your own guys, you can't go out and get a LeBron James to come to the team on top of being at the luxury cap. But if you had your guys here and then you wanted to add, or to extend your guys, you can pay them whatever to keep them there.
Okay.
So
they're going to do something. You're gonna get a player regardless tomorrow because they need help coming off the bench. Maxey's not getting valuable minutes right now. He barely gets on the floor. The other guy who's the other shooter, number 30.
Korkmaz.
Yeah. I mean, he's hit or miss every night. He could be red hot or he could be ice cold. And I just don't know that you can go into a 7-game series versus, a Utah or the Lakers, for the championship and not have depth coming off the bench. I think you need another piece. I don't know who that piece is, but I know they need another scorer off the bench for sure.
I look at it this way: is like 2001 when Theo went down and you had to go out and get Mutombo. That you at least had to go out and get somebody because you were out for the year. But this team's playing well. I don't know that you give up.
I'm just afraid that if they get rid of somebody and they sort of mess up whatever this chemistry is these guys have right now, there kind of goes the rest of the season.
Exactly. That was my point. Exactly. You just you got something going on right now that
and it's only going to get better when Embiid comes back.
Exactly. And does Lowry give you? Yes, the trophy's going to be put in the case tomorrow. I don't know that that's the case. Or
is there somebody that's not playing a whole lot that they could move out to put Lowry in?
Well, no, there's people that you could move out, and you're going to move. Danny Green's going to be a guy that would be gone, but he's been stepping up, lately. Maxey's not going to play much in the playoffs, so he's the one guy you can afford to lose this year. But Maxey's a guy that's a long term, potential player for the team.
Okay.
That you would want to hold on to if you could, but he's not holding you back from that one piece that might get you a championship.
Right.
That you would give up because in the playoffs he's probably not going to play at all with the rotations. Unless they're blowing a team out by 40 points, in the game, and they're going to give some guys a rest for a time period. But that's not going to happen too much, in the playoffs. But I don't know. I just don't think that this team needs to go out because you're gonna mess up the chemistry that you got right now, and I don't know that a Lowry is going to be a definite yes. You're going to win out, the championship or make them that much better that you have to give up what you're going to give up, in my opinion.
Okay. So it looks like the only team that's fairly close to them is Brooklyn.
Oh yeah,
So-
it's them and Milwaukee. It's Milwaukee, and as far as in the conference, they're the top three teams.
Right.
But yeah, Brooklyn's the other team that's right there, and Brooklyn's problem is they don't play defense. So that when the Sixers will play defense in a series, I think they don't have a problem with Brooklyn as much as some other teams, just because of they'll be able to play defense against those guys, and Durant may not be healthy enough to play,
Right.
so that that takes one of their three guys away, and where Thibault and Simmons can lock down on the other two to help out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more a matter of if you're doing a move, you're making a move to potentially beat the West teams, in the championship, I would think.
Okay. Anything else you want to bring up as far as Sixers go? Last chance.
Well, there's a kid out of the G League for the Sixers. I believe is his last name Ford by chance? Player of the year.
And the rookie of the year, and then the player of the year. Yeah.
Rookie of the year, player of the year. Is that somebody they look at to bring up to as a bench piece?
Is that somebody you'd bring up now, or somebody you'd bring up for next year?
Well, I'm just looking at strengthening the bench because you get somebody gets in foul trouble, somebody gets hurt. You're looking for a guy who can score the ball, and I just see that name in the G League, and that's what the G League's all about, right?
Exactly.
Growing these players and becoming potential NBA ballers. So I think the Sixers have done a real good job. I really do. Joe went down there and played for a little bit. Now he's back. Kudos to the Sixers. They've done a phenomenal job since they listened to John O'Brien and fired Brett Brown.
All you had to do.
Kudos, John O'Brien, because definitely somebody was listening in the organization.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, John, isn't it more like
Well,
it was never
getting
here?
It was
It was
getting
never
there.
here. Never. It was always like
Well, I
here.
started here because that's where it's at.
Him and I clash a lot, but I got to give him credit on this one. So
Yep.
he likes Doc Rivers. He loves Doc Rivers. I wake up every morning waiting for the rant. I ain't seen the rant yet.
Well, the guy does what he's supposed to do. He puts them in. It's amazing how you watch those games at late in the fourth quarter, and
Right.
he uses all his timeouts strategically to give those guys an extra rest to play defense throughout to finish the games out, and it's just magical watching them. The ins and outs of the game.
Magical.
It
love
is. Because
I love it.
let's face it. He probably won 10 games this year. For the team
Right.
that we would have probably lost last year. 8 to 10 games.
Did he come coach the Flyers on his night off?
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
God.
That'd be nice. It's just fun to watch. A coach. And that's what's kind of good in the city. You got Girardi's going to do the same thing in Philadelphia with the Phillies. and I think, AV's, pulling strings. It's just, they're just unfortunately not working right at the moment for them. But yeah, I mean, it's nice seeing coaches do what they're supposed to do, and and results, if they come, if they don't work out, it's it's going to happen in sports, but it's not because of a lack of not trying or doing things the wrong way.
So with that, in typical this Fans View fashion, we have gone over time. So we will start with takeaways. Lauren, you're up.
Well, we didn't get to talk much about it tonight, or really much at all. So March Madness has been an interesting last couple of days. I know my bracket is completely shot, but I do enjoy all the upsets and all the higher seeds getting those wins. But I also really enjoy the attention that's been brought to what the women have been going through in the NCAA compared to what the men have gotten. So it's exciting to sort of see that finally come to light, and to finally make the NCAA actually, give them the proper space that they deserve to play. So that's been cool too.
All right, cool. Anthony.
Not too much. Getting ready for the baseball season here, hopefully in the beginning of May. And other than that, we have a event next Saturday for Easter. There's an egg hunt on the field for any families and kids that want to do. I believe it runs from 12 to 2. I think tickets are only a couple bucks on our website. So if anyone's interested in doing something at the stadium before the season starts, they can check out our website. But other than that, not too much.
All right.
Very cool.
John.
Are they hard-boiled eggs?
I don't know.
I'll get my basket and come up.
All right.
All right, John, you're up.
That's unfiltered soup, folks.
How do I follow that? All I'm going to say is, enjoy the Sixers ride here. We're going to have something special. Relax. Everybody wants to jump off the bridge when we lost to the Bucks the other day because we let that game slip away at the end. But we were on back-to-back days, and they went into overtime, and they just ran out of gas that night, unfortunately. But that's basketball. It wasn't like they lost to the worst place team. It was the third place in their conference, and it's a fun ride. They're winning games now on the West Coast that people may not have thought they were going to win. So it all balances out. Just get behind them, and it's going to be a fun ride to watch them through here the next couple months.
John, they're in a good spot when you're telling everyone to relax.
See, but that's what happens when they're doing what they're supposed to do. We knew they had the talent. It was just a matter of getting that talent out of them.
It makes John's job a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm just teasing.
And my blood pressure's a lot better too. It's been fun. But no, it's going to be a good ride, and I think the same thing's going to happen with the Phillies. You're going to have to let them ride it out too, as well, and enjoy, and watch them grow this year as well. Because I think they're going to have something special as well. Whether it ends up in the playoffs or not, I don't know. But it's not for the lack of trying. Just there's a lot of other good teams in the National League, but keep a watch out there.
All right, boss man, you're up.
Staying with the March Madness, we got our Wildcats. They're going to go up against the big boys, Baylor Bears. So hopefully we can steal that game. That's going to be an exciting basketball for Villanova. Jay, you talk about motivation. You talk about a great coach. You talk about a coach that's going to go in the Hall of Fame this year. He does an unbelievable job motivating his players. I look for a huge upset in Villanova over Baylor. So Sweet 16, here we come. Great show. Thanks, everybody, for joining in the comments and questions and Unfiltered Sue segment. You never know when.
All right. I got nothing. Just thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.